So good morning and good afternoon wherever you are in the art world. Today we start our morning with Carina Popovici. She is based in Zurich, but she's the co-founder and CEO of an incredible platform, the Art Recognition AG. Good morning, Carina. How are you?
Good morning, Carolina. Thank you so much for this wonderful introduction. I'm very good, thank you. Looking forward to discussing with you today.
Thank you, Carina. It was really wonderful. We met through social media. Again, we connected. I didn't know you were so close to me, and it's wonderful that we live a couple of half an hour far away. But you are originally from, Carina?
So I'm a Romanian. Yes. I have graduated in Bucharest in my home university. So maybe this is a good chance to tell a few words about myself, because I had a rather unstandard career path, if I may call it like that.
Indeed. Wonderful story again. In fact, I would love, as my first question always is to know what inspired you to be in the art world. So thank you.
Okay, so indeed, I'm a trained physicist, but at the same time, I have always been an art lover. So, throughout the years, I have spent like many hours programming, while waiting sort of, for a chance to go or to move into the art. So, by discussing with an art historian, I have realized, that there is such a big issue on the art market with the authentication. So basically, I have seen this finally, as my chance to put like my coding skills, my programming and problem solving skills into the service of art. So that's the story in a nutshell.
Yes, no, indeed. But so you started art recognition, and so you created. Can you tell us a bit more specifically what does art recognition? What means art recognition? Right. Because it's very, very important, especially these months, and especially in the last years. Let's say the technology has been, seen in a different light. Seen as a valued partner of our life, if we can say so. So please let us, what is the mission of art recognition?
Yeah, so maybe I will just start like by briefly describing what we do there after all,
Yes.
So art recognition, we have basically developed an AI, that can be used for art authentication and forgery detection. And so how does that work? The AI basically learns the main features of an artist, its unique characteristics, most important being the brushstroke, of course, but also others. And so this learning is done by feeding in like a data set. So this with data set, like images, so really confirmed original images by that artist. And when the learning has been completed, we say that the AI has learned an artist. And when a new painting comes in, then the AI compares the learned features with those on the new painting, and then it's able to make a statement. Like if it's a match, then it's going to be a positive answer, and if it's not a match, it's a negative answer. So basically, all of those ranked and evaluated features are being used to calculate a probability for the authenticity of the new piece. So as for your second question with our mission, so as you know, the art market is like the largest unregulated market, as opposed to the financial market, for example, which is also huge, but it's regulated. So, with this program, with this software, we really want to contribute to the transparency of the art market. We want to to help drastically reduce the number of the forgeries on the market. It's probably an impossible mission, you know, to completely eradicate the forgeries, at least for the time being. But we are really, you know, faithful to our mission of just, you know, helping increasing the transparency on the art market.
Yes, and how does the market react to this new technology?
Well, that's actually a very good question, Carolina, you know, because we are now like about 2.5 years on the market, almost 3 years, you know, if we are like including the initial phase, you know, of the discussion. So it's really funny to observe, like at first, so 3 years ago, everyone was like very enthusiastic about this program, but sort of like very few people really wanted to try it out, you know, like everyone was waiting that someone else does the first step, you know. So eventually, you know, at some point the ice was broken, you know. So today, you know, 3 years later, we have like serving more than 50 clients worldwide. I mean, mostly in Switzerland, but also in other countries, European and also overseas. We work with many, you know, private collectors, with auction house, galleries, and so on. So it was really like a very steep development. It's of course difficult as being the forerunner, you know, so as far as I'm aware of, we are still the only commercial service provider really worldwide. So a company that offers an AI authentication service commercially. Maybe there will be others, you know, soon, but currently we're still the only one. And so because we have this status, you know, being the first one, it's always a bit difficult, you know, to like open the path, you know. Yes. Obviously, there is sometimes disbelief. I mean, there are some people that still don't think, you know, that art and AI can really go together. But these are really more the exceptions. And in any case, this doesn't disturb our progress. But in general, you know, the feedback that we receive is very positive.
Yes, yes. But Carina, there have been many, because, you know, Zug and also this part of Switzerland has been the hub or a different of to new technologies to be transparent, because I think it's been a subject very important in the last years before pre-COVID even. Mm-hmm. But how can it be your different? You see, your new technology can be different from the others, because there are many others also, but different from. So using this AI, this is the innovative element in your let's say in your art recognition.
Yes. So indeed, I mean, as you are saying, you know, there are a number of methods, which I like to call the traditional authentication methods. You know, you have the provenance research, as you know, you have the forensics, you know, the analysis of the pigments, you have the connoisseurship, of course, the art experts, which are like the dominating force on the, you know, on the authentication markets. But in my opinion, you know, all of these methods, they are not terribly efficient, you know, they are slow. You have to pack your artwork, you have to send it, you know, you have to pay the insurance, you have to deal with the customs, you have to wait for a very long time. You know, I've heard, you know, from clients saying that they send an artwork in original to an expert, and half a year later he got back to tell them that he still needs more time to. So okay. I mean, so it's quite cumbersome, I would say, the whole process. So really what we want is like to use this new technology, so really the full power of AI, the full power of deep learning, to offer like a simple, you know, modern, accessible, easy to use service to the art world.
And fast.
And fast, of course, to the art world, and to you know, to art experts, but also to collectors, you know.
So if somebody would like to you know, to try your you know, art recognition, they would send you the painting, or is the artist? Who are you looking for? That's as you said, you are looking for anybody from the art collectors to the entire art, let's say, community.
Yes. So I mean, this service addresses more like to people who are really collecting and buying, selling arts. I mean, not just people, but also institutions. Mm-hmm. So the service is really very easy to use. So you just have to take a photograph with your iPhone, you upload it on our secure platform, and that's it. Like in less than a week, we will get back to you, with a response. Is your artwork by that artist or is it not? And we also write a report, to explain how we did our analysis. And obviously you don't have to send your artwork around. I mean, just the photograph is sufficient. So it doesn't matter where your piece is located, it can be anywhere in the world. So in my opinion, these are, clear advantages as compared to the already existing methods.
And to this point, I need to ask you, what level of image quality? So just you upload your picture, that's it, from your iPhone or from your, and it's incredible because, there are other different things, that I've been known that there is a process. You do the picture, which is incredible from the phone, but how does it work? It's incredible.
Yes, well, I mean, we have to thank, to the smartphone, actually, smartphones. I mean, the iPhone, but also the other smartphones, because, the cameras got so good. Yeah, thankfully, to the newest generation or iPhones. I mean, you have to have like a latest generation. I mean, if it's like 5 years old, say your smartphone, it wouldn't work. So it has to be like a newer generation. So those that have really a good camera, because nowadays, that camera is like comparable to the camera of a good photo, so like
yes,
something
yes.
Yes. So I mean, the only thing that you have to be careful is that the photo is like a frontal, it's up front, so it's not like from the side. Maybe you have to be careful that you don't have a lamp standing behind you so that it makes a shadow right in the middle. So you have to sort of try, like to ensure good conditions, but it doesn't have to be like a professional photo lab. It's really just at your home, and just make sure that you don't make ugly shadows on it, and that's it. And then the photo is up front, and that's really it. I mean, I know it sounds a bit hard to believe, but really, I mean, the technology has advanced so much. I mean, on the one hand, the AI methods, that we can use nowadays, but on the other hand, the possibility that you have just to take photos with your smartphone, basically, that we can just combine, these two, and like everyone can profit of it.
Yes, and how big is your database at this point? So you would have you do the picture, and then it will be checked through your database. So
exactly.
Yes.
So basically, we have to train. I mean, say you think you have a Van Gogh, and you take a picture and you upload it, and then our AI has to be trained on Van Goghs, on that artist first. And this training needs a database, of course. And so we actually have contracts with the professional data providers, so that we have access to more than 1 million images. Because these data providers, they are working with museums worldwide, and so they retrieve the images from many different places, and we are just buying them from them, basically. So that's why we have like a huge database, basically.
But at this point, I need to be a little devil.
Of course.
I need to ask you, what happens if you see there are some paintings, because this one I would imagine that would work with an artist, a contemporary artist, because it's. But what happens with those artists, as you just said, that it could be that there are already problems on the evaluation, because some people can already argue different provenance. What happens then?
Yeah, so just to make sure that I have understood the question, so are you referring to the training images?
All masters,
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, so you're referring to the training images, really? Yes, so I mean, that's a very good question, of course, and we've been working hard on it. I mean, whenever possible, so first of all, when we choose the images for training, we only use images that are being like recorded into the catalog raisonnés. you know, so who are like really documented with solid provenance, and like ideally, you know, all the experts agree on the originality of those. I know that there are exceptions. I mean, you hadn't pronounced the name of Modigliani, but I think this is like the most famous case of a controversial artist. I know there are several catalog raisonnés and there is no agreement basically like which one is real and which one is not. So in those cases, I mean, what we do basically is like we try to, or we collaborate very closely with the art experts, and really we go through the catalog raisonnés like side by side, like page by page really, and whenever there is a question mark, we just remove that image. And in the cases where there is such a big disagreement, we basically try to create like a pool, you know, with the images where like everyone agrees on. I mean, this is a very difficult process, you know, we have like a whole team of people who's doing just that.
But again,
but we are very careful.
But this one, the aim of art recognition is to give a provenance, the transparent, you know, you are not evaluating if a painting belongs to a certain person or it's just the condition report. What is the main aim of art recognition at this point? So from the picture, you will get all the provenance. This is what you are achieving.
No, so from the picture, so basically what's being identified on the picture is the brush stroke. That's it. You know, so the AI is able to search for the brush stroke on that picture and compare it with the brush stroke it's learned, you know, from all the images used for training. And if the brushstroke looks the same, I mean, very loosely speaking, of course, there is some you know, algorithm behind. But if the brushstroke looks the same, then the AI is going to say, okay, this painting is by the same hand of the artist who created, you know, all these 300 images that it's seen before, you know, to learn. So it's nothing to do with the provenance or anything of that sort. It's really just identifying the brushstroke. So like on the report, we basically try to open the black box, you know, like how does it identify the brushstroke? And then we create something that we call a heat map, which is like a very nice visual tool. So basically it shows like in different colors. So like in red, what are the most important features that led to that decision, you know? So like if you have a portrait and you have like the eyes and the nose and the mouth in bright red, and the portrait is being classified as being original, then those parts are like the strongest evidence, you know, that determined the AI to say, okay, this is an original piece. So that's how it works.
In fact, this brings us to the next question, which if your AI system can distinguish different styles of an artist. At the end, that's so you also answered. No, it's very, very interesting because, you know, there are different, of course, there are new technologies, new methods, and it's so interesting and fascinating to you know, to always think beyond. And I can't wait. You know, I would love if one day, you know, you can show us. I know you're doing different panels and you're very, very busy at the moment, but it would be wonderful to see an example one time, if it's possible.
With pleasure, with pleasure. I mean, you know, from the whole process, what takes a little bit longer is the training, you know, like feeding all the images, but this can be done beforehand, you know, and then we can do like a live demonstration, you know, like to see how a new painting is being checked. I mean, this is something that I would love to do anytime.
That would be wonderful, I think, you know, because it will explain, because I think, you see, the most difficult part sometimes is to just embrace the traditional part and to be open-minded, and also to be open to understand. That's sometimes what is the biggest barrier, I think, is to let all our traditional thoughts, I don't know, to go beyond. And I can see your, you know, sometimes, as you can say, it's either people that really they understand technology, but they want to understand technology. That's another trouble, but it's incredible. Well done. So
thank you so much.
Carina, what is your name? Because you told me you are going to do this amazing panel very soon, which has been postponed many times because of COVID. So hopefully we will have a glimpse of your different, which everything is going back to normality, and not through Zoom anymore. So hopefully we will meet you live.
Yes, anytime. I mean, I will also be very happy, to meet everyone, like as we are entering the new normal. Yes, so it would be great, to do a demo and to sit together, at the table finally, and have a look how it works. So certainly, I would love to.
But congratulations. I think, it's always being, as you said, you already exist couple of years, but I think now it's really the moment to the boom of this new brave world has exploded.
Yes. Indeed, and it's maybe it's maybe interesting to observe, like during the pandemics, because so many people were in trouble with their businesses and so on. But as being 100% online service, we didn't experience any of those difficulties. So, but as you know, I mean, the online businesses have developed very much during the pandemics, also in the artwork. So we were sort of fortunate. I mean, not really, of course, because there were so many different difficult things happening in the world, but our business got the chance, to uplift a little bit during that time.
Fantastic. And I think it's important, to, as you said, to see the different realities that have happened during these months. But I think Switzerland has been quite, since you said you are going especially in Switzerland, but also throughout the world, you're expanding.
Indeed. So yes, very exciting times coming ahead.
Wonderful, Carina. And let me know, what do you have any other little tips that you want to let us know, or in the next months, what are you going to, or it's all a secret and we can't?
No, not at all. Actually, I'm happy, to advertise a little bit, because we've started rebranding ourselves basically. So we will soon actually start a campaign, like on LinkedIn and on Instagram, and we will have some cool ads, some cool movies. So stay tuned so that you can, see what we're up to. That the campaign will start towards the end of the summer, so shortly before the big art fair, so Art Basel basically. So we will be very active during that time, I can tell you that.
Wonderful. So waiting to see you in all the fairs very, very soon open. We are still hoping that all of this is happening, and I think we have reached a level of hopefully of going back to the past. Very very positive. Thank you, Carina. Thank you, Carina, and waiting to be tuned and to see all your next projects.